Hi, this is Mark Scheffler, Jr. from Last House on the Left, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
All right, and welcome back to the station of welcome back to the station of decapitation without your head. I'll edit that out. No one will know that I flubbed the name of the show.
Perfect intro.
Exactly. I'm still Nasty Neal.
And I remain Terrible Troy.
And we're joined, I said returning on the website, but he's never been on the actual podcast. But director Orson Oblowitz is here, and he's a great guy, and I'm happy to have him on the show.
Dude, I'm happy to be back, Nasty Neal.
Very good.
It's nice to make your acquaintance, Terrible Troy. You know,
yes, indeed.
Yes.
I've only
It's
been
not
one,
often.
you know. Yeah.
It's not often we meet a man named Orson, so this is a good one.
It is an awesome.
Not often we meet a man. Thank you. It's not often we meet a man named Terrible Troy.
True.
Very good. So I have to bring this up because you're currently on top of a mountain.
I'm on top of a mountain, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm overlooking a vista.
Very cool. It was years ago when we had Lance Henriksen on the show. He did the interview on top of like a toad, or a turtle. Or so it was like a big stone statue of a turtle or a toad.
Yeah, I think it was a turtle because we made the reference to like the King stories.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. I just thought, okay, makes sense.
But it's Lance, so you don't argue. It's kind of like, okay, that makes sense. That's cool.
It was just audio, so I imagine he really wasn't. He just like, I'm gonna tell these guys some crazy things.
They're not gonna question me. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I don't think I want to argue with Lance Henriksen.
No.
Exactly. So I just saw Orson in London at Frightfest.
Oh, cool.
Hell is Where the Home Is, the second movie of the year. He's a very busy man. So how did that whole experience go for you, being in London at Frightfest, showing your new movie?
Dude, it was a blast. It was really good. I almost missed my premiere because I got stuck in Philadelphia for 8 hours on a layover.
Oh no.
So I was like having like a little bit of a nervous breakdown, but I made it, and it was fucking awesome. Are you kidding me? It was like the perfect crowd, sold out show, fucking IMAX screen, which I was not prepared for. I don't know if the film was either, but it was great. You know.
Mm-hmm. So was it? Was that your first time seeing your own movie on the IMAX screen?
Dude, that was the first time I saw that film with an audience at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the world premiere of it. So, like, I didn't know really what to expect, and it was wild.
Oh, that's pretty special then.
Yeah. So it was a trip. I mean, the audience was dope, and like, there's one moment that's pretty violent, and like, if nothing else, if the film failed anywhere else, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure 723 people jumped up in their seat. And that was one of the best experiences of my life.
I know when I saw Queen of Hollywood Boulevard in Boston Underground Film Festival, like, I was surprised, and you were surprised that, like, people reacted. They laughed at stuff that, like, you wouldn't think they would, laugh at. So, was there any, like, anything that surprised you from the crowd for the new one?
So,
Hell is Where the Home Is.
So like, there was a few moments that are like really big reactions, but then for a lot of the film, like, you could hear a pin drop. Like, I didn't hear anyone talk or anyone like make a noise, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Have I failed? Like, is this the end?" I'm like, and then I came out, and everyone was like, "Dude, that was so fucking intense." I was just like, I didn't know what to do, and I was like, "Yes." So it was more. I thought I was going to get more of a reaction, but people just seemed like locked in. And then some people hated it, but that's okay. That's their problem.
Yeah, you're almost.
Yeah.
But with Queen, when you and I saw it, people were really sickos, the places they laughed at, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to make it seem like that. I didn't mean to seem like they were laughing like, hey, this is like silly. But yeah, they were laughing at stuff that was like, very dark and like disturbing, and people like, it was strange, but they were into the movie at the same time,
No, it was great, but it was like, oh, here's like an underage prostitute in a hotel room with a weird man. I was like, you people are fucked up, man.
This is a typical Tuesday here in Boston.
I went to school there. I know. And that's it.
So Queen of Hollywood Boulevard, you wrote this one. So what interested you in the script for Hell Is Where the Home Is, or how did you even get associated with it?
So it's kind of a fun story. The producers of the film, the Holowitz brothers, I had met years ago Julio Holowitz. I was a camera operator, and he was a line producer on one of both our first jobs when we moved to LA. And we had kind of been in and out of touch. And then cut to like 6 years later, I showed him Queen of Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, dude, I got this project. Like, we're trying to get it going. It's happening fast. I think you'd kill it. And in all honesty, and it was just like, it was one of those weird things. Like you meet someone kind of through a job 6 years beforehand, and then 6 years later, they're now bringing you on to make a movie. So, and I had actually really wanted to do like a contained thriller. It was kind of what was on my mind to do next, because I really love, contained, not just film films, but kind of like chamber dramas that films that take place in one location. Everything from like Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs to Don't Breathe to even like like Bergman, like Cries and Whispers. Like this kind of idea of like using one location and keeping it interesting, and just you using it as like a terrarium for like the actors and everyone to grow in. So it was really up my alley. I liked that it wasn't just run of the mill home invasion, even though it's a genre that I love. Like I love Your Next, and that type of stuff. And it had this whole like dramatic, really, it took it seriously well as a film, as a dramatic film. So that was what interested me. And then Corey and I met, and we worked super hard on the script together, doing some rewrites, especially for the location. Because when you write, you're writing a film that's for an imaginary place, and then you get a real location, and you got to rewrite it to it.
That's something I never thought about. Yeah,
it's kind of wild. Like it was kind of this whole thing where, like, if you were to look at the original version of that script, there's major plot points which you would need to have $20 million to build out the whole place to your specifications. So the location was its own character. So once we found it, we rewrote the whole film to that location in Malibu. And and I just also wanted to like take this, like, I'm a big Argento fan. Like I love Suspiria, I love opera, Deep Red, Profondo Rosso, all that. So I kind of wanted to apply this like mass killer aspect to it. So it was kind of like a whole bunch of my favorite things coming together, and it was fun.
You mentioned Suspiria. There's a lot of use of purple and greens in the movie too. A lot of the use of color, interesting, lighting.
Oh yeah, well, like my DP Noah and Rosenthal and I were like super, because you've seen Queen, so like that's also all fucking neon. But it's very motivated by you're in the strip club, so like that's the neon world. So we tried to work something into the script, so we could kind of show this descent into hell with color, the same way that like Argento does it, or another big reference is, you guys seen The Guest?
Actually, they sent me a Guest condom once for the movie, but it's a good movie.
Funny, I just saw one of those on Twitter, and I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. That kind of vibe where it's like kind of neon and a little otherworldly at times. I don't know. That's kind of where we were coming from. But Argento is God.
Guest, Argento. Yeah, Guess though, I think that's an underrated movie. That's a good film.
Oh, 100%. Well, people
Yeah,
think
I
they
agree.
because like people are all like, oh, it goes so crazy. But I'm like, yeah, it's like a fucking 70s political, crazy, paranoid film. Like, it's great.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like, what was that great film with Warren Beatty from the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
The Parallax View. The Parallax View. It kind of turns into that. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it a lot making this movie because I just think the vibe of that film is so good, and the music, the score, Dan Stevens is fucking badass. So
yeah. So with Queen, there's a lot of imagery that you're a photographer, I believe, and you took pictures of this stuff before you had it in the movie, and then to do a movie that is all in one area. That's got to be a huge difference. I would think.
Oh yeah, it totally is. I mean, it's funny that you bring that up because it was like a totally different approach from like Queen, where it's like, yeah, it's all based on my photography. I've been documenting Hollywood and like the seedy kind of LA. I mean, I don't know, man. I've been in some weird situations that I've taken photos of over the years. And then being like, okay, we're in a contained world. It's more grounded, more realistic. But it's still, it kind of was like a different side of photography I found myself pulling from. Like more portraiture, more architectural photography. Like, it was like Julia Schulman and these architects and kind of trying to play a little more, and it was more, it was just like, it was like different references, but still very inspired by photography that I love, but more portraiture and more architectural photography.
Yeah. Are you the cinematographer on your movies?
No, I'm not. I work extremely close with them, but on Queen, it was Luke Hanlon. And on Ellsworth Holmes, it was Noah Rosenthal. I have a project I'm thinking of doing one next. I'd love to shoot it myself, but it's just like, it's so intensive. And these are great. Like both of them have been fantastic to work with. And like, I'm very hands-on and pain in the ass, and they've allowed you to be that, but, we work super closely together, and they bring a lot to it that like, I normally, don't have as much experience in, or, they're great sounding boards as well. Like, help make these films.
No, I don't want to spoil like the movie or anything, but not really twist, but I think there's a lot of like a misdirection in the movie, which I found very interesting. Almost like a magician. Like you think, one thing's going on. You kind of look at one thing, but something else is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think I hope like in a weird way, that was kind of like what attracted me to the film was like, can we get away with kind of making two movies that are one or that are in one? And I really think it was successful. I'm not, I've talked to a lot of people who have watched the film, and there's different viewpoints on it. But like, yeah, I wanted to feel like a drama. Like you're kind of in these people's world, and it's a drama, and you're kind of seeing them slice of life, and they have all their own inner demons and lies, And then what you find is like, what's worse, the violence of the outside world or the violence within themselves? And that was kind of the subtext we were playing with. And, I don't want to give away too much. It definitely is, we try to definitely misdirect you constantly. And this great editor who was a mentor for me, Bob Ferretti, who he edited like Tango and Cash and Die Hard 2. Oh,
wow.
And yeah, he's awesome. He's a fucking legend. And like Halloween Resurrection, he always said that horror is in the misdirection. So, I hope we executed that, and I'm happy that you dug it.
Yeah, I definitely dug it. And those, you mentioned, almost a drama, until things go crazy. So, but I think when stuff does go crazy, then you're more into the characters. So what happens to them or how they change and stuff means a lot more to you.
Yeah, I mean, I thank you. Like, that's awesome. Because, like, I think I love horror films. Like, that is something I watch all the time on my own accord, and I love them, and I study them. But I think sometimes I love the ones that are pure exploitation, splatter porn.
Sure.
But I also love when, like, I'm kind of invested in these cats, and I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then it all goes to hell. I mean, that's why I really like Climax, which they showed it at Frightfest. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I saw it. It was we didn't have tickets, but we ended up getting in to see it. Yeah,
I remember you and I were waiting outside together. We were hanging outside for it.
Yeah.
I know people hated it. Some people, because they were like, it's not a horror film. But I actually saw it as like a complete horror film because he lets you like hang out with these characters, and then he fucking just drags you into hell with them. Mm-hmm. And I felt very connected to them in the film, so I found it very violent and very horrific. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that vibe. What did you think? Did you dig it?
Yeah, I honestly didn't, but I would like to rewatch it. But I do think it's a very original movie because they really take their just even the beginning when they're doing all the interviews, like that went on way longer than it would in any other movie. And then like the dance stuff, the same way, and then when things, start to go crazy. So, but I can't say I really enjoyed it, but I did appreciate that it was so different.
Me too. Like, I like that he was trying to make us learn about the characters. Like, my girlfriend did not like the film. She walked out with me and like, I'm not really she likes Gaspar Noé a lot and that stuff. But and a few other people that I really respect their opinion were not into it. But I really enjoyed that he just kind of dropped in on you at a point, and it just got more intense and more intense and more intense. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what you were trying to do with Hell as well,
Yeah, I actually think it was kind of a hard movie to watch, but I think intentionally, because it does make you feel very uncomfortable. Climax.
Oh, totally. Which I think is a very effective. I mean, that's what I kind of like from horror, because I like to pride myself on someone that's like, oh, I can take anything. Like, I can watch any sort of type of violence. Uh-huh. So when something bugs me and makes me feel uncomfortable, I really like it. I feel like they've done a good job.
I do agree with that, because as I watch horror movies since I was a little kid, and not to be like a tough guy, I really don't like get scared of things. But so like if you watch a movie that is disturbing, I'm into that, because if you get like an emotional reaction to something, even if it's a negative emotional reaction, I think that's that's art. That's you're getting something out of it. It's connecting to you on some level.
Exactly, and that's why I love horror films, right? Because they're about like our kind of more like deepest, most depraved, repressed feelings and desires, and we get to see them acted out. So when it affects me, it's almost like cathartic, like therapy.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your favorite horror movies, or even if they're not a horror movie, with disturbing movies?
Opera by Argento recently has been like a film I've watched a ton. I love that movie. Halloween 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Halloween 2 is super. People hate it, but I think it's super underrated. I love it.
The original one or the Rob Zombie one?
The original one. I like the Rob Zombie one. I was just showing someone yesterday the strip scene from Rob Zombie to like the Supertramp song "Love Hurts." Remember that?
Yeah.
People hate it. I think it's a really well-made film, the Rob Zombie remake. But I was talking about Halloween 2, which actually my DP, Noah Rosenthal, his dad Rick Rosenthal, directed it.
Oh wow!
Halloween 2. Those are some of them ones. Like, I like the old Herschel Gordon Lewis stuff.
I do too. I'm a big fan of Blood Feast. I think is awesome.
Oh yeah, Wizard of Gore. You can't
Wizard
go wrong.
of Gore, yeah.
Wizard of Gore is great. I bought the whole box set collection because, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the shit that like you go back to, right? Like you're like,
oh yeah,
and he does one. He's one. His commentary tracks are amazing. I think he's one of my favorite guys to listen to on the commentary. Like, I love the movies. Like, I don't necessarily think they're great movies, but I love them. But then if you listen to his commentary, like you'll think, oh my God, this is like the Gone with the Wind, or like this.
Oh yeah, he
amazing
could sell
movie.
you on anything. That's
Yeah.
true.
Exactly. He's like, this is the most extraordinary film ever made. And you're like,
Yeah, I can
saw
see
that
his
one, though.
point. Yeah.
That's dope that you guys, I love, his stuff is super cool. And I actually was looking at some of it because practical effects were actually really well done for no money.
Yeah.
And,
For so long ago.
Totally. And in Hell, we did everything practically.
Mhm.
It was all practical.
Oh, that's perfect then.
Yeah, all the effects are awesome in Hell.
That's one of my lines.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sorry. I was just told I had to move off this part of the mountain.
Okay.
Oh man, the wise man's kicking you off the mountain.
Where's Moses at? Like we did in Hell all the special effects practically, and that was really important, because we didn't have a ton of money, so like if you don't have a lot of money, your beat special effects like that, CGI, and I just like seeing it. Like I like being in the reality, in the physical world. So that was super important. Another thing, just bring up, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Zombie, Lucio Fulci, big fan.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't put those two together, but I know exactly what scene you're talking about now.
Yeah. I really am proud of that.
Uh-huh. And it really comes out of nowhere. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's why I'm like happy that worked. Like that's when everyone jumped up in the film. Like, and I was like, fuck yeah. So like I love the Chip Fulci. I also love Fabio Freaky Stores. So yeah, I'm kind of like an old school horror, but also there's other things like Demon Night with Billy Zane.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie.
Yeah, I just saw it again recently. It was
the Tales from the Crypt one. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a 12. Every Halloween they do a 12-hour marathon at Coolidge Theater, and it's midnight till noon. And they have like two headliners, and the rest are surprises. And that was one of the surprise movies. Was Demon Night.
Nice. I wasn't crazy about the other one though.
Yeah, the
Bordello. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that one.
Yeah, well, this was kind of a douchebag.
Maybe that's what was the problem.
Yeah, so those are like some of mine, but I love all sorts of horror. Like I love, it's the best genre. It's like the most fun to me since I was a kid.
So who did the special effects for Hell?
Josh and Sierra Russell. They did Beyond the Gates. Have you ever got to check that out?
Beyond the Gates. It sounds very familiar. I'm not sure if I've seen it.
Yeah, it got a little cult following. It's a pretty cool film. And they did that. They did Low Life, which came out last year. If you guys got a chance to check it out.
This one looks familiar, Beyond the Gates, Yeah, I might have seen this. With Barbara Crampton. I think I did see that.
Oh, yeah, with the game, right? And they have like this video. Game. Yep.
Oh,
that was
a
cool movie. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's like the old the VHS game. Fear, whatever it's called.
Yeah, badass soundtrack. Yeah, and Barbara Crampton was at fucking Frightfest. Did you get to see her when you were there, Neal?
She was in Frightfest. I did not see her.
Yeah, she was there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I know. I only got to meet her for like a second, but I was like, I love Reanimator.
Oh,
yeah.
Reanimator's balls.
I hosted a panel once. It was Scream Queen. Yeah, and she was there. And it was one of my favorite moments because I asked everyone their favorite moment of the convention, and she looked at me and said, "Meeting you." And I was like, "Oh, sweet."
Well, Neal, you were one of my favorite components of Buff as well. I'll never forget you doing the Monster Mash.
I hope
I have to see this.
I wish the whole thing was on video because I do think I did a good job on the Monster Mash. But I think there's a little clip on Instagram.
I got to check if I have a video. You killed it. Are you kidding me? You were like You had your backup singers and stuff.
Backup singers. I'm gonna give them a name like the Nastyettes or something. Yeah, that was a really good time. That it's weird because that was Orson's first festival and my first festival, and it was Orson's first interview and my first interview at a festival.
That was a trip. That was a fun interview though at the Harvard Film Archives.
Yeah. That was really cool. They just like I'd never been there before, and they just like, hey, we'll set you up this room at the Harvard Archives, and I was like, okay. And so I had my own little room there for like the whole weekend, and it's pretty wild setup.
Yeah, that was super fun. I mean, they're Nicole and Evan and Kevin. They're all awesome.
Yeah,
they were good to us.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
You know.
So, how did for Queen of Hollywood Boulevard? Once it did Boston, where did it go from there? Is it on DVD or anything yet?
It played Mammoth. It's going to have its LA premiere shortly. It's going to be announced next week, and
okay.
I don't want to say it, but and then we have distribution. This company, Dark Star Pictures, is taking it out. We're going to do like a limited theatrical run, and then we're going to be on DVD, VOD, all that good stuff starting later this year. So,
how did you get two movies made this year? Did they? Did like the production overlap at all?
No, actually, Queen was made a while ago.
Oh,
Queen was because it took a long time to finish. It was about almost 2 years of shooting and editing and score and music because it was just such a labor of love, and I didn't have much dough. So, and then this film we finished this film exactly a year ago, like this week. So for Hell. So it was kind of right after I wrapped Queen. I got really lucky getting Hell, and we banged it out in a year. And so I got lucky, man. I was really happy that all of his brothers gave me the opportunity.
Yeah. So where did you shoot it? Whose house was it?
We actually, it took a while to find the right house, and also someone that was going to let me fuck it up.
right.
Because we really fucked that house up. And it was the film takes place in the desert, but we shot in Malibu Canyon, and it was like all nights for 20 days, like straight nights. Shot chronologically, which was super fun. So like it was much easier to like kind of just because of the intensity of the film to like get to the next level of intensity. We didn't have to go back and forth and be crazy. And we shot it all out there, and then shot the rest of the stuff, the exterior stuff on the desert.
Yeah, I think now that you mentioned that, I think a movie like that, like Hell, would definitely benefit from doing it in order, just like for everyone to get in the mindset of what's going on, and it'd be weird to go back and forth throughout the movie.
Totally. And then especially it's easier for the actors to kind of get to their different levels of intensity. It's not like, I actually read a story that on the original Halloween, Carpenter had he created like a scare meter, an intensity meter for Jamie Lee Curtis. So whenever scene they started, he would show her what level of intensity she was supposed to be at on this like contraption he had made. Yeah. So I thought that was a great trick.
Yeah. I never heard that before. I like that though. It definitely paid off. What are your thoughts on the new Halloween? Are you looking forward to it?
I mean, I am. Actually, the music supervisor I had of Hell, Jacob Nathan, who also did Queen, he's one of the music supervisors of Halloween as well, but he won't tell me anything about it. I was trying to get information. He's like, nope. But, I'm excited, dude. Jamie Lee Curtis. I think David Gordon Green's a pretty badass director. I hope it's good. I hope it is. It's funny because they keep being like, it's like they're going to cut out Halloween 2 out of the canon and this and that. And I'm kind of like, it's not like a new remake. Like, we've been remaking Halloween for over 30 years.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's not
So,
like, and it's not like, and it's not like the other movies just disappear. Like you could still go and watch them. It's not like they're
yeah,
going to ban them and you can never watch them again.
totally. So I don't understand like rewriting of the canon and the narrative, but and also, come on, John Carpenter is going to score it. So you know I'm fucking in. I saw him play Halloween last year in LA. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I regret. I could have saw him in Boston. For some reason, I didn't go, but I do regret not going. It seemed like everyone really dug seeing him.
Dude, if you get a chance, you should go. I mean, I'm a big John Carpenter fan. Like that dude is. I mean, back to like my favorite horror films, like The Thing. I mean, I can kind of like watch John Carpenter films all day, and I have many days. Right? Like, I mean, he's a fucking American treasure, bro. He did this Masters of Horror episode called The Cigarette Burn.
Oh, that one's tremendous.
I actually have it right here on my stack of DVDs behind my computer. But yeah, that's I think that's the best one. I like a lot of those, but that was the best one in the series, I thought.
Dude, it's a masterpiece. I'm like watching this thing, and I'm like, what are we doing? Not showing this all the time. Like, this
I know.
It's amazing.
Right. I think that one, and what was the F. Paul Wilson one that they did? Pelts. I really liked that one.
Oh yeah, that was the best one of the second series, I think.
Yeah. That might have been the only good one of the second season.
Yeah, a lot of the second season went too good, but it was good.
I gotta check that one out. I'm into Wicked Bloody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I forget who directed that one. Was that? It was some Italian director. It might have been.
I can probably look it up here. I'll cheat and look it up.
Cheat.
Yeah. Good little cheat press. Our memories aren't what they once were. No. Especially after Frightfest. Especially after a week in London.
Yeah. Did you have a good time in London in general?
I had a great time.
Yeah. I don't know how much you get to see of London when you're at Frightfest, but
I got to see a good amount. I mean, I kind of like, I walked a lot. I made my way.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It was a fun city. It's weird and old.
Yeah.
I love London too.
Yeah. They got dragon gargoyles and shit everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a couple, friends that we've had on the show who told me some like old, pubs to go to. This one pub was on Fleet Street, which I thought was cool. I had to go eat a meat pie on Fleet Street. Then,
that's awesome.
I was tempted to get a haircut and a shave too, but I didn't.
I walked right by there as well. The fucking Sweeney College place, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I walked right by there. I took a photo on the wall with this plaque. It said like the Devil's Tavern, and I was like, what? And they were like, closed in like 1882. I was like, sounds like my type of place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Graham Humphreys, who did the artwork for Frightfest, he told me to go to him and Tim Dry told me to go to Ye Old Cheshire Cheese, which is a pretty awesome name, I think, for a pub. And it was built in like the 1500s. I was like, holy, so crazy. And then they told me to go downstairs, and downstairs it's just like a cavern. It's just like, dug it. It's like, so you're like drinking in like a dungeon. It's like a really wild place.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, I went to. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying Dario Argento did Pelts.
Oh, okay.
Argento did it. Oh,
yeah, so you got to watch it. It's great.
Yeah,
good. I have to watch it. It's the master.
I think Meatloaf is
Meatloaf
in that one.
Yep, he is.
Wow.
And John Saxon, maybe. Or maybe it isn't John Saxon. It's one of those old actors. Those old-timey bastards.
Yeah, it is John Saxon. You're right.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I like the old-timey bastards.
Yep, me too.
So what were you saying that you went to?
I went to this place about how old London is. Like, I went to this bar that, like, I was reading about it, and it was like that Charles de Gaulle commandeered the troops in World War II from this bar.
Wow.
Like, he would sit at this bar and strategize and like send them telegrams.
Wow.
Tripping out over it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck am I?
What was it? I know you mentioned Climax. What were some of the movies you saw at Frightfest that stuck with you?
Dude, that's all I saw. It was because I got in a day late.
Right.
That was my day of watching films.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed everything that I had actually tickets to.
Yeah.
And so I saw mine, and then the next day I had some family in London. I had to go see him, and then I saw Climax. So I was kind of bummed because I wanted to see Bodied really bad. I wanted to see Possum. I wanted to see Wolfman's Got Nards. Because Monster Squad is a phenomenal film.
Yeah, I loved it.
You know.
Yeah.
Did you get to see it?
Yeah, not there though. I got to see the screener, but yeah, and we did an interview with the guys. But I grew up. That's one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, and yeah, the documentary is awesome. And I didn't realize that they filmed some of it. Well, I did want to watch it, but they filmed some of it at Frightfest the year before, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow, yeah, I haven't got to see it yet, but I really like those guys. And I actually didn't realize I was like chilling with Andre and them, and I didn't realize until like halfway through. I was like, we were talking about the documentary. He was like, yeah, you know, I was an actor and all this. I was like, no, are you the kid in Monster Squad? Like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, I've been showing you for 2 days, and I haven't put this together yet.
Yeah, he's super cool. Yeah, he's just like, you know, just a totally normal guy. Very cool. And it was when we were doing the interview, and we were supposed to meet him at some place, and the director, and he just came up, are you here to meet someone for an interview? I was like, yeah, and he's like, oh, well, that's me. And it was just very funny. It was just, God, for some reason he didn't look like a director to me. I didn't expect the director to be like a 6'4", very big hairy guy, I guess.
Yeah, but he loves film. He's a man. Yeah, he's a man. We ended up vibing out pretty hard. So it was a good crowd there, man. I'm kind of sad to be back. I was having such a blast.
Yeah, I had a great time too. We same way though. We actually missed the movie that we had tickets to because it took a little longer to get there because they had to go through customs and everything. And then I had no phone access, and then trying to navigate our way around London without like Google Maps was kind of difficult. So we missed stuff before, but
yeah, I had some similar problems. I was like, dude, I don't know which direction I'm going on this fucking tube right now, bro. I'm like Shoreditch or wherever I'm supposed to be in Leicester Square, and I couldn't pronounce it. I thought it was Leicester.
Yeah, we had the same thing when we tried to get a Uber or a taxi. The Uber didn't show up, and we were trying to say like where it was, and they just kind of laugh at us. But everyone was very polite.
Yeah, no, it was a good vibe.
A few times when I was like going to pay for something at like a market or something, I'd grab like because the change is like a dollar. Well, a pound is a coin there, so I've got like a big handful of coins, and they would just reach over and grab what I was supposed to pay them a couple times. It made me feel kind of stupid, but.
I had the same thing. I was like, dude, my pants were sagging from all the goddamn pounds in my pocket.
Right. I thought the food was good. Everyone told me like the food is bad in England, but I enjoyed everything.
Dude, I went to some Chinese place at like 3 a.m, which was delicious.
Yeah. Chinatown. It was cool. Chinatown was right around the back of the theater. Yeah,
I did end up randomly at a Mexican restaurant, which was the worst food I ever ate in my life. I actually gave it back and I left. Dude, it is like, I was like, dude, what is this? It was a microwave piece of the chicken, but the food was actually pretty good, and the fish and chips were bomb, and kebabs and all the Chinese was great.
Yeah, I really like because I didn't realize this either because when I rented us a flat on Airbnb, and it said it was that Woolwich was 15 minutes from the heart of London. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's not. It's like an hour, 10 minutes from the heart of London, which kind of blew it. It's like an hour to get there, then an hour back home. Well, not back home, but back to our flat. But they did have like a lot of kebab places that were open. Like I don't know if they're open all night, but they were open at 3 a.m, and I do kind of miss that. I would like to just walk out and get a doner kebab like down the street for me right now. But
dude, doner kebab is late, bro. I love doner kebab.
Yeah.
I was like, talking to them, and they were like, "Oh, don't you guys love doner kebab?" And they're like, "I mean, when I'm drunk at 3 a.m, I'm like, dude, I'll eat that shit for breakfast. Like, what are you talking about?"
I agree. It was just like, and I couldn't believe it. I got like they even went up to extra large, but I got a large, and they just like were piling the meat on. Like it's like it's like a pound or two of meat. I was like, wow, this is like for 7 pounds or something. I was like, this is my kind of place.
I like that. I like that we started this conversation talking about mutilating people in horror, and now we're just talking about
now it's into the food. Yep.
Exactly. Well, back to hell is where the home is. I do like that. A lot of the deaths are like long, because a lot of times movies like someone will just get like stabbed and they're dead, but like these people take a long time to die. And to fight to survive, which I like that in a movie. It seems more realistic. I've never killed anybody, so I don't know how long it does take to kill somebody, but it seems realistic.
Well, in my own experience of killing people, I've noticed that it takes a while for them to die. And personally, I really like watching people suffer.
Mm-hmm.
No, but yeah, I mean, I wanted to prolong the death. I mean, because it's a contained movie. Mm-hmm. It's not big, right? Like it's not like Green Room was kind of a big example for the film. Mm-hmm. Where like we wanted to like hurt people and then kill them,
Mm-hmm.
So kind of take a little time with death and try something different here and there.
Yeah. That works on a couple levels, because I think it shows like someone's will to survive and fight, to survive. And then it is also horrific to see someone, to suffer and die, because, even if like you say, hey, how do you want to die? It's like, well, I don't want to suffer anything. But then you see someone, suffer over a long period. It's much more horrific.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think watching people suffer is part of the fun, right? It's like, it's easy to just die and disappear. But when you really let them die and think they're dead, and then they come back again, and then you just kill them all over again, that's part of the fun for me,
Mm-hmm. Because it's not to spoil it, but like you said there, they come back. It's like you think, oh, they overcame that, but yet no, they might have been better off if they just died.
Exactly, they might have been better off if they died. They'd have a better death. But like, even like Halloween, it kind of like, that's one of the cool things about the Shape, right? With Michael Myers, is he can't kill him. He keeps coming back. There's nothing supernatural about him. You just keep killing the fucking guy, and he just keeps coming back. He's so goddamn resilient to kill people, and I love that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I agree. And it's some people think that's like basic, but sometimes like basic is it works, because that's what scares you.
Yeah, and also for hell, go back to inspiration for it. I have a giant fear of home invasions, of like people. Someone breaking into my house in the middle of the night. I had it since I was a little kid. I sleep with like a big bat and different, various homemade weapons on my bed. And so like when I got the opportunity to do this film, it was a way for me to deal with my fear of home invasions. And to go back to like taking the time to kill people, I kind of thought about what things that would really scare me if someone just showed up. And that's like the whole house is all glass. So it's kind of like they're in their own cage where people are looking in at them all the time, and you never know when they're going to attack and kill them. So that was kind of one of the fun things for me with this, was dealing with my own fears of home invasion, my own solutions in case someone ever did invade my home. I don't know if you've ever been to the desert. Have you ever been to the desert in California?
I've not. I've been to California, but I've never been in the desert.
Dude, it is like the scariest fucking place on earth. You know, like it really is as scary as like The Hills Have Eyes make it. Like there is fuck all out there. So I remember hanging out there one weekend with some friends, and we just were like sitting outside. It was late, and we're just looked out over this like endless darkness. And I was like, "What would you do?" We're just like two guys. So these people just showed up right now with knives or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how I think, because I'm a morbid motherfucker. And that was kind of the part of the intensity we wanted to bring to the film. It's like, what do you do if people just show up?
Mm-hmm. Just,
you know,
the desert, there's no one around, so it's really, it's like just out in the middle of nowhere. So it's if it's a populated place, you can scream and someone's going to hear you.
Oh, ain't no one going to hear you out there. And if,
right.
if they did hear you, they're not coming to help you. No one wants to come help a screaming person in the desert. You know,
it's a really good shot. I thought it's like shot from the perspective of like a guy falling backwards, like he's dying. And I thought I don't think I ever saw that movie before. I thought it was a really, really interesting and cool camera angle.
After the machete.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, dude. I just kind of wanted. It was a shot I always wanted to do that I had in my head. This 180 degree kind of point of view shot, and there was a lot of discussion about it even in the edit. Like, does it break the point of view? Is it with my editor Brett Solom, who we work with closely on the edit? Is this breaking our point of view from our main characters? But I really think it creates almost this break in the movie where the whole tone kind of shifts into this more intense home invasion film. But I'm happy he done that.
Yeah, definitely. Then there's also the music. When things really go crazy, there's a definitely change in the music. And that I think that almost not dubstep, but kind of like that really adds to what you're watching in the movie.
Yeah, Jonathan Snipes' score he's a badass. He's a phenomenal talent. Did you guys see Starry Eyes?
See what? Sorry?
Did you see the movie Starry Eyes?
Oh yeah.
He scored that.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, and I always found the score of that to be he uses music box. It was one of the more haunting, timeless scores I had heard in a long time, and it always kind of stuck with me. So when we were looking at who to compose it, I said, let's reach out to Jonathan, and he was very open, and he really did awesome stuff, because the whole first part of the film, the score is kind of sound designy and just low key and swirling, and it's haunting, but it's not too intense. And then when things go wrong, it just went to 10 with it, and I loved it. I really loved how intense he went with it all of a sudden.
Yeah, it totally works in the movie. It's totally set up. How'd you get? Go on, sorry.
What were you saying? No.
I was just gonna ask how you got Fairuza Balk involved in the movie.
We just hit her up, man. She was originally that role was written for a man. And we were talking, me and my producers, and we were like, first off, no one's going to let a man into your fucking house in the middle of the night.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying that. But beyond that, it's so much scarier, again, with the misdirection. And Fairuza plays it so matter-of-factly. You don't know if she's good or bad. You don't know anything about her. She could just be the nicest woman in the world, or she could be the most sadistic, violent person you've ever met. So we reached out to Fairuza because we're all fans of, obviously, Craft, Return to Oz, American History Act. That woman has done a ton of movies, and when the doctor, she has such a look and such a presence about her. And we just reached out to her, and she was very open for it. I'm really proud of her work. I'm really blown away by how amazing actress that she took the job and did it. She really brought a lot to the character. Like, she kind of styled the character. She wanted to be unrecognizable. She didn't want it to be like Fairuza from The Craft. It was like, no, here's this character showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a pleasure to work with. I mean, I have nothing but the best and utmost respect for her showing up and doing this film and helping us out.
Yeah, the whole character is it's really interesting in the movie. Also, the way people react to the character, because it kind of plays on things like should you be nice to people and offer them to come in and call, and then you think, well, maybe this guy's being an asshole who doesn't want her there, but maybe he's right. So I don't know. It makes you think a lot of how you personally would react to something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I wanted it to feel like. It's like it's conflicted. There's no right answer or wrong answer. Mm-hmm. But truthfully, the guy who's kind of more of the asshole, vindictive character, he was right.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So we should have listened to him. It's kind of like one of those, don't shoot the messenger type situations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you want to play with that. Like, I think that's what I was trying to play with the film a lot, is like, what is good or bad in people? Like, what makes us good? What makes us bad? And how are we trying to deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the decisions that we make based on kind of like our moral compass?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted there to be a layer of that in there. So then when the outside world of violence comes in, that forces them to make decisions based on their moral compass,
Mm-hmm. We have to, the terrible one has to take off because he works in the morning. It's 11 out here. But good night, Troy.
All right. Good night. Thank you for a great show. I look forward to talking to you again.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night.
Night. So, where does Hell Is Where the Home Is? Where's it gone since Frightfest? Where's it going since Frightfest?
It's playing the Fantasy Film Festival right now in Germany in a bunch of cities, and then it's going to play, I believe, the Denver Film Festival in a month, but I haven't announced yet. So, oops. And then we'll see where it goes next. But hopefully we'll play a bunch of fests. And then, we'll talk to some people trying to get it out there. I think, I think it's going to resonate well. Watching it play in an audience like that, even if that's a very good audience for the film, I think people are going to dig it. So I'm really hoping that, it gets some good distribution and it could become like a great cult film.
Yeah. This Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival has an awesome, I don't know if it's their logo, but it's this very strange, big-headed woman feeding a baby.
That's for Queen. Yeah, that's for Queen's playing there this Sunday. So anyone listening who's in Philly, go see Queen 3:30 p.m. I wish I was there, but yeah, they got it's kind of sort of the Frightfest logo though. It kind of looks like it's.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
yeah,
very cool.
But they got a badass lineup at Puff. They got it looks like a really fun fest, and Philly's a great city. I don't know if you've been there, but
yeah, just briefly. When we were in Atlantic City, we stopped there on the way back to Boston, but I've not spent a lot of time there. But a little bit I was there, I thought it was a really nice town.
Yeah, that place is cool. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they think of the Queen, but I think it will play well, and they're super supportive of the film. So I love them for that.
Well, what are your obviously you're positive on them, but so what are your thoughts on festivals? Because I've had a lot of people on. Usually they're positive on festivals, but I've had people on the show who say they tell people you shouldn't submit your movies to festivals.
Man, have I had a fucking reality check over the last 2 years of going through this process with festivals.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're amazing if you get into them for your film. And the people who run them are awesome people. And I have met, I've met some of the coolest people at festivals, and the programmers are really smart and really great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tricky game, and it costs a lot of money. And when you're making a movie and you're putting your money into it, it's really hard to justify, when you end up spending thousands of dollars applying to festivals. And I don't want to, I just think that, it's a tricky game. And it's one of those things, like, you don't know the people who are part of the festivals until you're in them. And then once you're in it, it's really cool because they invite you and you meet everyone and they're really great people. But you kind of got to break into the world. But it's kind of the only way we can separate our films from all the other films, And I've had great experiences. I've had bad experiences. I've had festivals like, be like, hey, we love your film. I think we're gonna program it. Like, stay tuned. We're really into it. You can consider yourself in, and then comes the announcement, and you're not in the festival, and it's heartbreaking. But it's a necessary part of the process right now, and it's great. It curates cinema for us. And it's just about finding your place. Queen was really, really hard to find its place. I had a lot of people say they love the festival, but love the film, but that they couldn't convince the other programmers to play it. And festivals of all sizes, big festivals, little festivals, it just wasn't fitting because it's not any one genre. Yeah, and that's why, like, Boston, I have like a real like affinity and love for the people at the Boston Underground Film Festival. They really got behind the film and they did an amazing premiere and like really pushed the film out there, and that opened a ton of doors. That led me to get Hell happened, and meeting the festivals for Hell and pushing Queen, and so you just it's got to find its place like everything does. That's what a filmmaker once told me. He said, films find their place, and whatever that place is, if that place is the bottom of the fucking rubbish bin at a gas station or Sunday, a can, it's like in their place. So yeah, festivals are festivals, but they're necessary and they're awesome once you're there, once you're in it. But it was a learning experience, and it wasn't all happy and it wasn't all sad,
Yeah. Are most, because I'm not aware, because primarily do the horror show. So, are most of the festivals horror genre based, or are they more open to just anything? Or?
There's festivals for everything, bro. At this point, I mean, dude, you got it. There, I saw last night there was an advertisement for a vertical film festival of films that were shot vertically, like in Snapchat form.
That's a real. I've always joked about that I wanted to make a found footage movie that was shot on my phone, but shot vertically, so it takes up like an eighth of the screen, and just to be annoying.
Dude, there's a festival for you.
I didn't know anyone actually did it. That's crazy.
Not only did someone do it, there is a festival devoted to people doing it.
Oh,
so like, I think like. There's the horror one, the genre one. There's the LGBTQ one. There's the women one. There's the Asian American ones. It's cool because you can really find your community, and like, we're all looking for community. So that's why I love the festivals. For the most part, I've mainly done genre ones, or ones that they're the only ones that like my weird ass. So, but there's something for everyone, which I think is great. And I think that's nice. Because you put so much work into these films, and then like it's like going through college applications again. You get rejected and rejected and rejected, and you think you're not worth anything and all this stuff. But then some group of fucking weirdos comes along and they're like, "We'll take you, buddy. Just come with us."
Yeah. Well, I've noticed a lot of that. You mentioned like, what genre the movie fits in. And it's always a little annoying to me. Like, some people will get into arguments like Alien, is it sci-fi or horror? And I always think, like, why does it even matter? Like, are you going to like it less if it's a science fiction movie? Or, you know what I mean? So I forget where I was going to go with this, but what I liked about a lot of the festivals I've done there are a lot of movies like Queen of Hollywood Boulevard. Actually, at Frightfest there were some they weren't really horror movies. I don't really even know what I would call them. But to me, like if it's a good movie, it's kind of weird. It doesn't matter, what genre it is.
I agree. I mean, genres are something created by distributors to get people to go to the film.
Mm-hmm.
To like get them interested in a movie. It's not made by filmmakers. I think that it's a confused thing. Like it has to be this genre. It has to be horror. It has to be sci-fi. I mean, I saw a guy at Frightfest screaming about Climax, saying that it wasn't a horror film and that it had betrayed the heart of Frightfest by closing it without being a horror film. I was like, I mean, dude, I don't know what your definition of a horror film is, but that's pretty fucking horrific, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know at what level does that cross into your definition of the horror film?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm with you. Like I always kind of just like, make the movie you make and whatever it fits in, we'll fit it in down the line. But I don't think, I think the worst thing you can do is try to fit something into the box. I think the best thing you can do is just fucking take a bunch of TNT and light it and explode the box.
Yeah.
And that's the film I love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what was it? It's very bizarre. The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot. And it was, I expected like this really silly, over the top movie. It's nothing like that. It's very serious, like a dramatic, like beautiful movie. I just loved it. But I was glad it showed there because I also heard other people too who said, why is it playing here? Because it's not a horror movie. And, but it's like, why does it matter? It's like, it's a really good movie. And it's weird. Totally. I could see if it was like, like a romantic comedy or something and be like, well, this is out of place. But, it's this weird, bizarre movie.
Yeah. And like, I didn't get to see it. I actually really want to see that film. Hey, I'm a Sam Elliott fan. I heard great things. And I know a lot of people were a little, taken aback, like, oh, it's not what what I thought it was. But I'm like, there's no like advertisement on the film that says, come see our horror film.
Right.
It's just a title and a poster. And a really great poster.
Yeah. There's not even a trailer or anything. Yeah.
Totally. So it's like, those are your expectations. Like they're not, there's no false advertising there, and I hear it a lot. And I really think that, it's hard that people have expectations of what they want to see. I love everything. Mm-hmm. I don't just watch one genre. I watch everything I can because I love cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's some romantic comedies that felt like horror films to me. And I was like, oh, this is how people live. Like, this is scary.
Right, yeah.
Like Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman is a scary movie. He's like, I love you. You're a prostitute. He's like, I'm going to throw it all away for you. And I'm like, no, lady, go live your life. Don't throw it away for him. Do your thing. Have some agency.
Yeah, because if your friend told you like that, you'd say, well, don't do that. That's like crazy. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's like, so that's the point. I don't know. I'm very open to like everything. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a misnomer that people only think that you need, I'm only going to watch sci-fi and I'm only going to watch horror. And the beautiful thing about genre films, and that's why I love to make them, is it allows us to use a genre to just subvert people's expectation and create subtext and then really dig into something interesting, by using, by using crime, by using horror, by using science fiction. It allows us to really see into kind of like this like dark side of human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still an entertaining movie in its genre.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a lot of the great like science fiction back in the day. It was usually like a parable for like social commentary of today, but they couldn't just go outright and do that back at the time. So they would do it within like some kind of science fiction or fantasy setting.
Absolutely, and that's why we love it. Because they're totally exactly. They're metaphorical. They become archetypes of characteristics of human nature or politics or sociological critiques, even like old westerns, like High Noon, you know, it's all about this man's fight against the man. This man who's up against basically the corporations, and his time is running out. But they put that in a Gary Cooper and High Noon, you know, western. You know, I love that stuff. That's kind of like, you know, same with science fiction. Like you get these opportunities to talk about, you got like a parable, and still make it entertaining and still give us what we want as an audience member.
Yeah, because there's a fine line between that and, you know, being preachy, which you don't want to, like, you don't want to hit people over the head with what you're trying to say. But if it's there, you can enjoy it on different levels. You can just enjoy it as the movie, or, you know, you can look deeper into it.
Well, that's why I loved Hereditary. I mean, I heard a lot of people saying they didn't like Hereditary this year. And I loved it because I thought it was like this great examination of like the sins of the mother, the sins of the family get passed down onto one another, you know, like we can't escape our family. And if you come from any sort of dysfunctional family, you really understand what the subtext of that movie is. And I thought he did a great job putting that into a really intense, fun movie. I don't know, did you like Hereditary?
You know what? I really wanted to. That's a movie I've said I'm sure I would like to watch again, because I saw it at the theater, and the theater I was at, like, hated it, and I don't know if that affected how I felt about it, because like they were like, you know, ridiculing the movie while I'm watching it, and so I'd like to watch it again before I really say what I thought, because I don't know if that affected it. It might have affected how I felt about it. Because I've gone to movies where people really love something, and it does affect how you like, you know, your enjoyment of it.
Oh, totally. Well, that's part of that brings up the whole thing, which is the communal theatrical experience. I mean, there's nothing like that, right? Like, for me, movies are meant to be seen in theaters, and when we're not here, and that is to bring it back to film festivals, because I don't want to be negative on them. Dude, you know how few times as a filmmaker you get to see your film in theater and playing an audience. Play in front of an audience. I mean, it is an amazing, very scary experience, but it is really something, because we just don't get that many opportunities anymore to do that in the current distribution environment. Yeah,
and I say that all the time on the show, because there's nothing like watching the movie on the big screen, how it's meant to be seen, and because you can't escape it. It's like right there, so you're not going to go, you know, play a game on your phone or check your Facebook or, you know, anything like that. It's just right there. You're immersed in it, and it's a totally different experience than watching it. Like, obviously, I watch a lot of stuff on my computer and the TV and stuff. But if I had the choice to watch it on the big screen, there's nothing like it.
Well, me too. You know, I mean, obviously, I can't even afford to go to the movies as much as I'd like, but in general, it's just, you can't escape it. You're stuck in the black box and nothing else matters. And, you know, it's just like those 2 hours of your life you devote to this crazy fucking sight and sound experience. And if it's bad, it's sometimes really fun to watch a bad movie in the theater as well.
Yeah, I agree. Because I go to a lot of the midnight movies up in Boston, and, you know, some of them are a little Reanimator saw, which I love, but you know, some of them aren't the greatest movies. I saw Troll 2, but there's something about watching it. It's you know, everyone's laughing, and it's a cool experience. Yeah, it's very strange, because at that same theater, so Troll 2, and then I saw recently like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Very different films.
Totally, and different experiences, but you kind of walk away with they're memorable. You know, they're not just another piece of media that we put on. And I love that as well. Like, I love midnight films. Like, that's kind of one of my favorite activities in life, is to go to the movies late at night. Yeah. And it's totally transformative. And sometimes the movie's terrible, and sometimes it's the best thing you've ever seen. Especially with watching older ones. Like, I went to I went to a midnight screening of Howard the Duck once. Man, you know, terrible film, but a really fun, terrible film to watch with other people.
Yes, I agree. It was the 2001 was really cool, because I was sitting next to an older guy and his son, and he said that he went to see it when it first was released, because I think it was the 50th anniversary, at that same theater. And I was like, that's really wild. And now he's back, you know, watching it.
Dude, that's incredible. You know, it also shows the insane staying power of that movie and
Yeah.
how it stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy they did that re-release. I sadly didn't see it again, but I've seen it in theaters several times before.
Yeah, it was my first time seeing it in the theater, but yeah, it was a wild experience.
Yeah, dude. There's not much like that. I love. There's a great science fiction film that is a parable, right? Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I went to see Reanimator at that theater, the friend I went to had not seen it. Well, she saw it, but she saw it on like channel 38 here, so it was very cut up. And so near the end when things are going crazy, I was like so excited to see her reaction when like the severed head comes, between Barbara Crampton's legs.
Yeah, like that's fucking awesome to see, dude. Like, and it's cool to get this. Like for me, a lot of the films I love are older, so I really like that I get to, especially with all the great revival cinemas that are happening now all over the place. I love getting to experience these films that I've only seen on VHS or DVD or late night on TV on a movie theater. It's wild. Like recently in LA, Cinematic Void, which is this film group that they do showing that they do theater. They did a Shaw Brothers Kung Fu marathon, and it was unreal. I loved those films growing up. It was unreal to get to watch them on the big screen. They were like masterpieces, dude. Like, and I was like, this is so cool to experience these crazy films that I loved when I was younger. And to see them, on a fucking 30-foot screen.
No, it's not a great kung fu movie. There's a really weird kung fu horror movie. Because I saw it they did a whole kung fu a month at Coolidge, and I can't think of the name of it. It's Warhawk Tanzania is the star of it, which I'll always remember that name because I think it's the greatest name. And I've tried to find him to get him on the show, but it's like a weird combination of horror and like blaxploitation and kung fu. Gang Lords.
That I saw there, Gang Lords is the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to check it out, dude. The two that I saw there was Human Lanterns, which was incredible, which is like a horror film, kung fu horror film, which was fucking amazing. It was pretty intense. And then The Boxer's Omen, which honestly was one of the better films I had seen in a long time. It was actually it was completely psychedelic. It was like El Topo by Jodorowsky meets a kung fu film. I had never seen anything like it. But it's cool that they did that run. That's what I'm saying. Like in Boston, they're doing the run. I mean, I used to go to the Bravo all the time back in school there to watch crazy movies at night, Brazil and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Brazil there too. Yeah.
What year did you see it in 2004?
No, because I didn't start going till the last 6 or 7 years, so it would have been after that.
No.
But
yeah, I saw it in 2004. It was actually a really great experience. So then, when I played Queen there, I was tripping out so hard. I'm like, dude, my first day at college, I came here and watched Brazil, and now I'm premiering my first film here.
That's wild. That's one of my favorite movies, Brazil. It's so good.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Another great sci-fi parable.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you have the box set, even though it's not very good, the cut that they put out at the theaters, they totally changed the movie, but it's still cool to watch because it has 3 different cuts of the movie, and it is interesting to watch how someone who is really artistic, I think, recuts the movie and totally changes everything about it. So it's definitely not a better version of the movie, but it's interesting to watch, I think.
Oh, I got to check that out. I actually would love to see what they did. They can't stop fucking with Terry Gilliam, huh? They just can't, leave him alone. He's a national treasure.
Yeah, and I thought we're finally going to see the man who killed Don Quixote, and now I guess it's not going to come out because someone sued him over the rights for it.
Yeah, it sounds like a sticky situation. I read that he went into a catatonic state over it. And he had Brazil recut. He had Heath Ledger passing away in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yeah.
And then he had this film that was started and stopped and shut down, and he finally finished it the way that can. And now that's getting, I mean, dude.
Yeah. Did you ever see the documentary about the making of it? The first
Lost in La Mancha.
Yeah, that's like such a heartbreaking movie. He's so passionate about it, and then it just all falls apart.
He put everything into it, and it just gets destroyed. You know?
Yeah,
what can you do?
Talk about not disturbing, but that's a movie that definitely like makes you feel bad. But it's a very powerful documentary. Yeah,
I mean, it's like the obsession and passion of such a great director just being subverted by money and financiers and production companies. All this guy wants to do is make this film.
I think the cut I'm talking about, they call it the Love Conquers All cut, because it's got like a happy ending, and it's totally different from the movie. It's weird to even think that you could, it's in a lot of ways it's the same movie, but it's just the way you cut it can totally change the tone and everything about the movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's like, that's like where you make the film in the end. The writing and shooting, that's all great, but then you're just stuck with whatever you got in this dark black room for however many months, and you can do whatever you want depending on the footage. So yeah, I got to check that out.
Yeah, about that, how hands-on are you in the editing on your movies?
I edited Queen myself. I was the editor of Queen, and then I had an additional editor, Kelly McGillicuddy, who came in and really helped tighten it up. And on Hell, my editor was Brett Solomon. He also edited like Night Watchman and Beginner's Guide to Snuff, some pretty cool horror films over the last couple of years. But I'm very, we're in there every day together, 10, 12 hours. I love it. It's like the best. There's nothing in the world I enjoy more than sitting in that fucking editing room all day in a dark room, just going at it together. Like
do you feel like you do have to have someone else there though, or else, like if you totally edit your own thing just yourself, like you might keep in stuff that's just like you remember filming and like you're like emotionally attached to it, and it might not work in the movie, but you have a different feeling about it, which no one else watching it would have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like with Queen, I was so attached. It was like this struggle to kill things all the time. That's why, it's a lot more, probably it took a little longer than it should have. I also didn't have money to pay anyone else to edit. So it was kind of like, okay. With Hell, it was really nice to have someone, the whole length of time help me kill my babies one after another. I mean, there's a few things in that film that are on the cutting room floor, which were some of my favorite moments filming it that never made it to the film. Because, they just didn't work in the end. And so I think it's very helpful to have someone. I mean, it's really nice. I love editing. I'm a little bit of a control freak with films, but like the vibe that I had with other editors has been really good, and I've been lucky, to work with good people. So it is important, and it's always important. Like, it's kind of an interesting thing just in general, like taking notes from other people. But it's really important, I've realized, to be open-minded to what someone sees that you don't see, even if you don't like it. Doesn't mean they're right, but it's great. You need to be able to take it in and be, at least for me, because, and sometimes the most unlikely person, you'll just show an early cut on and they'll see something and you're like, no way, wait, let me try that. And it might just work and change everything. So you never know.
Do you have any social media sites for your movies?
Yeah, I have for Twitter. I have, I like to get confused. Someone had held. It's for Twitter. It's at Held Were Home, and for Queen, it's Queen of the Boulevard on Twitter, and then for Instagram, it's the Queen of the Boulevard as well, and then for Facebook, it's the Queen of Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
are those my Twitter come up?
Yeah, are those the best places to follow to find out, like, where the movies will be? What festivals will be playing at?
Yeah, definitely. Or just my name, which is at ORSON OBLOWITZ on Twitter. I'm pretty active. Or my Instagram, Orson Manchild. I'm pretty active on both of those.
What's the story behind that name, Orson Manchild? Or I guess maybe it's self-explanatory. I don't know.
Like when I got when it was the dawn of the internet age, and I was at college, I just I've always kind of done things a little bit my way, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the idea of growing up. So I just I had this thing called Life of Manchild, which was like my photo blog and website. And it just kind of grew from there. And I did a lot of music videos under the name Manchild, and
yeah,
I am who I am.
Do you say, is it your music, or did you do music videos for somebody else?
Oh, music videos for a bunch of other people over the years.
All right.
I don't do them as much anymore, but I used to do a bunch. And I'm not the best musician, but on Queen, I wrote a few of the songs. I say that tentatively. I did some of the music. The real musicians were the people who scored it, which was Danny DeLora, his brother Daryl, Matt Powell, and then Herman Kopp. It was amazing. And they, so I don't want to take credit until I scored Queen. I did a few of the tracks on there.
All right.
But I dabble.
All right. We'll work together and get my cover of Monster Mash video.
Dude, I might have a video of it. I'm going to look for one, bro. Because you fucking murdered.
I was very happy with it. I was disappointed someone didn't have a video, like a long video of it. So hopefully you do have it. I did. There was a very fun weekend, and that night was especially fun.
Dude, that was a blast, bro.
See, I'll give it a shout out. Nikki Hentz and Livy were my backup dancers.
Dude, you guys had a vibe going. You had some rhythm going on there.
It was a good time. Definitely a good time. You sang. What did you sing? You sang something.
We did the song from Streets of Fire.
Oh, okay. I remember now. Yeah.
I might have. We did as a group.
I remember I took some videos. I might actually have you on video. I'll have to check it.
Yeah, well, maybe we can trade over the interwebs.
Right, exactly. Well, it was awesome to have you on the podcast, and we should do it again more often.
Dude, anytime, Neal. It's really been a pleasure, man. I love chatting with you.
I have to think of something cool for Orson. A cool O word. We'll think about it for next time.
You let me know.
Horrible Orson.
Horrible Orson.
All right. Well, Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Dude, you're the man, Neal. Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks. Be nice. Bye. Have a good time in the mountain.
This is Bob Kraskowski, the writer-director of The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot, and this is Without Your Head.